Have you fallen into an open manhole recently? Do you find yourself in the company of strangers? Well, then you might very well be in the feature Underground. In the ghetto or out, my name is Hunter Lanier, and I'm here today with yet another review of an upcoming movie. This time it is EPiC, Elvis Presley in Concert. It is Baz Luhrmann's pseudo follow-up companion piece to his last movie, which was his Elvis biopic. First thing I want to say is that I watched this movie at the perfect time. The press screening was just a few days after I returned from a road trip all around Mississippi. The crown jewel of said road trip was Tupelo, Elvis's birthplace. I saw the home where Elvis was born. I saw the church where he first got his taste of live performance. I saw Johnny's drive-in where he would go eat. I saw the hardware store where his mother bought him his first guitar. And I walked the very hills that Elvis played on as a child. If you have any appreciation of Elvis's music and what he represented, it is very much like visiting a holy site. I highly recommend going. And will this experience color my opinion of this movie? Most definitely. Another thing that might add to my unique perspective of this movie is that I never watched Baz Luhrmann's Elvis biopic. There was just something about the way that movie was being presented that rubbed me the wrong way. And I also couldn't really get past Austin Butler looking like a Ken doll. And I still have a bad taste in my mouth from Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby movie. Now that the table has been set and all of my prejudices have been revealed, let's get to EPiC. I would be very surprised if this movie did not end up on my best of 2026 list at the end of the year. It is that good. It might, I try to stay away from hyperbole, but it might be one of the very best concert films I've ever seen. The film begins with a kind of expedited documentary on the first three parts of Elvis's life. His childhood, his explosion onto the scene, and the post-army years where he had lost his creative direction. He was trapped in a contract of making crappy movies, and he had been very quickly usurped by a whole new generation of jukebox heroes. All of that catches you up to what the brunt of the movie is, which is Elvis rehearsing and Elvis performing. And this is him post-comeback special right at the beginning of the Vegas residency era. Now, many Elvis fans will decry the Vegas residency era, and really anything that came after the Army. The popular narrative is that Elvis lost precious time in the Army, and that everything that came after was the Colonel caring more about selling Elvis as a brand rather than allowing Elvis to grow as an artist. I used to be one of the people that felt that way. But in recent years, I have started to come around on the Vegas era, for reasons I will touch on a little bit later. But even if I hadn't come around on the Vegas era, I think this movie might have swayed me. Because much of what gives the film its power is that it does an impeccable job of actually capturing what makes Elvis Elvis. The charisma, the self-awareness, the dynamism, and that intangible, guttural, rock and roll punching power that is so far within you that few can even reach it, much less wield its overwhelming power. It is like Excalibur. But for Elvis and Hendrix and a few others, few are deemed worthy to wield it. You see all of this from Elvis in this film, not in the least bit diminished as the popular narrative says it is by this point. While most of the power and energy in this film comes from Elvis, I do have to give Baz Luhrmann his fair share of credit here. Where I have found his style in the past to be on the attention deficient and gaudy side, those instincts actually work very well in this context. because he brings his trademark energy to this film, and it sort of ends up matching Elvis's own energy, and the two start to hit the same frequency, and they harmonize really well in the end. And whereas Luhrmann's films in the past I found have lacked substance, that is a non-starter here because the subject of this film gives it all the substance it needs. I did get to see the film in IMAX, and that is truly the best experience, not just for the picture, but also for the audio. As I was walking out of the theater, it really did feel like I was walking out of a great performance. My soul was buzzing. I felt energized from the performer, and my hearing felt slightly diminished. Now, what makes this film really special and what helps it transcend the concert film genre is that it quietly weaves a narrative without you realizing it. And this narrative is something that is inseparable from Elvis, but is, I think, too rarely discussed. It is the very thing that made me come around on the Vegas years. The narrative I'm talking about, the idea, is that Elvis truly gave all of himself. You see it in the performances. You see him drenched in sweat, probably in pain, exhausting every bit of energy he has. All the while, never faltering, never breaking, but always seeming to be grateful that he has something to give. And he did this over and over again until his body literally couldn't take it anymore. He gave and he gave until he had nothing else to give. That is the story of Elvis. I've seen a lot of performances, both live and through concert films, and I can't think of another performer where, as I'm watching him, I'm thinking, not only is he, I think, willing to die on this stage, but I think he would see it as a privilege. And there's no lip syncing, there's no choreography, there's no pyrotechnics or video packages. This is all just Elvis and a great backing band. The reasons for Elvis's rise are worth a separate discussion, but when it comes to his enduring legacy and his status as an American saint, it is this sacrificial aspect of Elvis that is the most important. In the film's most memorable image, we see Elvis, after a performance is over, walk into an elevator, stand against the back of it, and wait for the doors to close. And we see on his face, he looks nothing like he did on stage. He is completely drained. In that moment, everything that I've just been talking about should become clear. As much as I love this movie, it is not without its faults. One of them being it does suffer from the classic too many endings problem. There is a moment, an image that the movie really should have ended on. I was on the verge of being on the verge of tears. And then the movie just keeps going. And then it keeps going some more. And all my tears dried up. Another minor issue I had is that there are a number of Elvis remixes, or I should say remixes of Elvis songs in the movie. I'm not against remixes as in principle, but I don't like this idea that we have to make these songs sound more modern, or young people are going to think they're lame. Because guess what? In 50 years, these modern remixes are going to sound lame to kids. So let's just keep it all as it is. I alluded to it a little bit before when I was talking about the picture, but I do want to say that the newly restored footage looks amazing in IMAX. The sound is amazing with a theater setup. It is truly a magnificent theater experience worthy of the king. And if I remember correctly, the restoration team behind this movie is actually Peter Jackson's team that worked on Get Back. And we know that Get Back has become the latest benchmark for music documentaries for a wide variety of reasons, the quality of its restoration not least among them. In fact, there's a really fun moment in the movie where the band is rehearsing and Elvis just slides from one song right into playing Get Back. Well, those are all my thoughts on EPiC Elvis Presley in concert. Now's the time for you to let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. If you're not an Elvis fan, maybe you think he's a little old-fashioned or corny, give this movie a shot. I think it will open your eyes, at least a little bit, to why Elvis was so damn important to people like the Beatles, like Bob Dylan, like The Clash, and so many others. Until next time, I leave you with the inescapable truth, the flashlight that you can carry with you into the darkness, the unshakable belief that every day underground is a good day.